morning, everybody, and once again, welcome to the Future Minerals Forum. I'm thrilled to be here and joined by the president of King Fahd University for Petroleum and Minerals, Dr. Mohammed Al-Sagaf. It's great to be talking, frankly, about a subject that is very close to my heart as someone who's covered the progress of the kingdom for, frankly, 2 decades now, to see how much progress has been made, particularly for women. But I want to get a sense from you, sir, of what the university is doing now, because you're operating independently now since 2020. You're working very hard to achieve those 2030 goals. Walk us through the strategy.
Thank you very much. In very simple terms, the mandate of KFUPM is to help expand the economy of Saudi Arabia. That is the mandate. We want to do our part in an overall ecosystem that would push forward an expansion of the base of the economy of the kingdom. And whenever we talk about something like this, of course, somebody says, well, that is very easy to say. Okay, how is it going to be achieved? And when we talk about an expansion of an economy, one can ask, how is it done? And the answer is, you cannot expand an economy by focusing on one sector. For example, you cannot expand the economy of Saudi Arabia by focusing on the oil and gas sector alone. It is already the largest sector in the world. What type of expansion are you going to achieve anyhow? You can only expand an economy by creating and nourishing new sectors, and hence the relevance of this forum and the relevance of the mining sector and other sectors as well. And the next question that comes along, and it has been partly answered by His Excellency in his speech just 5 minutes ago, is that what do you need to create these sectors? And as we heard, and as we often say, you need 2 things. You need investment and you need talent. And many a times, strategists and planners and so on focus a lot on investment, getting FDI agreements and so on, but talent is, if not as important, even more important than the investment. And without it, you cannot actually achieve sector development in the way that the Kingdom and Vision 2030 wants. And when we say then investment plus talent, to emphasize the point that I just said, that it is important, we often say, as mathematicians, that it is actually wrong, investment plus talent, because the relationship between them is not additive. If it were additive, you could make up for talent by adding investment, but that is not the case. In fact, the relationship between them is multiplicative. It is talent that amplifies and enables and allows the investment to achieve its goals. And without that talent, you will be multiplying by 0 and you would be achieving nothing, 0 sector development.
Yeah. When you think about how you are training young engineers for the future, for the jobs of tomorrow, for the jobs of today, what is the strategy involved there?
Talent comes in many different flavors and shapes and archetypes, and it is a very general and sometimes generous word to describe graduates of institutions of higher learning. And in our view, there are 3 types of talent, or 3 types of graduates of academic institutions. The first type is the economy burdening talent, those graduates who are unable to have the skills needed for today's or tomorrow's economy. And then they become a burden on the economy. They have to be reskilled, or they take on menial jobs for which they spent years and they don't need that training. If not, they become disgruntled because they are poor and unemployed and so on. And in general, they are a burden. The second type, which is the largest type, is the economy maintaining talent. Those are all the engineers in Aramco and SABIC and everywhere, all the physicians, all the professors, all the bankers, all the lawyers who strive to maintain the progress of the current economy, because the current economy has to continue to evolve and survive. And they are the largest portion of any economy, this type, and they are essential and needed. But the most important type, as far as we are concerned, at KFUPM, our niche is type 3. That's the economy creating talent. Those are the few who are going to go on to create the future jobs and create the future sectors. And this is why we tell all our students, and we have a number of our students in the audience today, when they get into KFUPM, you are not here to learn to get a job. If you get into KFUPM, it's a very tough school to get into. You are implicitly guaranteed a job. That is not the objective. You are not here to learn to get a job. You are here to learn to create a job. And herein lies the trick, that this type of talent is the one who are going to go on and create future jobs and create future sectors. But there is also a responsibility on the university, because there are also 3 types of universities when it comes to their posture in technology development and the way they treat and train their students. And the 3 types, the first type is the tech-lagging institutions. And these are universities that are usually large, focusing on teaching, and they don't participate in research or technology development. The second one is interesting, is the tech-following institutions. And these are universities who jump on the bandwagon whenever a new fashionable, trendy technology is introduced. So, nanotechnology was fashionable 10 years ago. Every university and research center created centers for nano, and then graphene, and now the darling of today is ChatGPT and large language models and AI, and there no president gives a speech without AIification and so on and so forth. And we believe this is the wrong posture of academic institutions. We should be type 3, tech leading, or even tech leaping,
yes.
i.e., we as academicians, we need to foresee future challenges facing humanity, and we need to start developing solutions for them from now, before the industry comes knocking, and definitely before the industry develops these solutions. And our posture is that, an aspiration is that we need to be type 3. We are moving in that direction. We are partly that direction. This is why all our programs are future facing. This is why we already graduated many cohorts in these future disciplines. And overall, this ecosystem of focusing on talent and training them in the right way is a necessary and sufficient condition for Saudi Arabia to create these future sectors and therefore expand its economy.
One of the criticisms that's often been leveled at the kingdom over the last few years on that journey to Vision 2030's goals has been whether or not you'd have enough people in this country able to execute. You've got the brilliant people at the top, but are there enough people who, as you say, are skilled and can be reskilled for those jobs of today and tomorrow? Is that something that you believe is still a challenge for the kingdom?
It is an opportunity for the kingdom. Saudi Arabia is not a small country. It is a populous country. It has a young population. It has very smart population. Its population are competent in English. The location of the kingdom, forget about the resources, whether oil, gas, or minerals, is central. We are global citizens. We receive people from around the globe every year for many different objectives. We are open to the world. And so we do have the numbers, we do have the quality, we do have the caliber. The trick is how to put the ecosystem together, how to match those coming out from university, and before they go into university, and convince them to go into the disciplines of tomorrow by availing the opportunities for them when they graduate. Because some would say students are naive. They are not naive. They are very pragmatic.
Yeah.
The first thing they ask you when you talk about something interesting in the future is, where are the jobs? Yeah. And many times, if we are not careful, we end up in a catch-22 situation by which companies come to the kingdom and say, where is the talent? Show us the talent. Don't give us subsidies. Give us talent. And you go to the talent and they say, where are the jobs? And then it becomes a system that needs to be bootstrapped such that that talent is willing to take up the jobs of tomorrow.
Tell me this. Obviously, this is a story that's evolved over time. Just a few years ago, women's employment in the kingdom was around 17%. And at Q4 2024, just late last year, you have reached over 35% for women employment in the kingdom. It's a massive change. It's very exciting. But particularly in the engineering sector, you see 50% of the students pursuing that degree are women today in Saudi Arabia. Very different from the rest of the world.
Yes, and we are consistent with the overall vibe coming from Vision 2030. You cannot win a game with half a team. You cannot run an economy with half the population. We have to tap in the talent of everybody in the community and in society to chip in to move this economy forward. And this is what we have done at KFUPM. Our university has been a men-only university for nearly 60 years. And we have graduated some of the best alums. Many of them are leaders today, including Mr. Al-Mudafer himself, who's an alum. But we want to graduate the best students from both genders. And so we started 4 years ago, and we said we are going to open admission for all genders, for male as well as female, and in all disciplines, and in the most hardcore of engineering. And we did that, and women took up the challenge, and our ladies came into KFUPM and populated all the disciplines. One of them is mining, science, and engineering. And they are exceptionally competitive. And when I meet, and we have some of our male students and female students here, and I meet the male students, I tell them, God help us, God help the boys, because the women are coming and they're very competitive, and they have absorbed the culture and the spirit of KFUPM in a fantastic way, and parted their own values as well to the university. Our position right now is one that is enviable in the world. Yes. KFUPM has the highest enrollment of females in engineering anywhere in the world. Yeah. Anywhere in the world. At 50%. And you know, if you go to the most advanced of the Western economies, and you go to any university and ask them, what is the female enrollment? They will say 50%. But what is the female enrollment in engineering? And it is 10 to 15%, maybe 20% in the best of technical universities. And we did that because support from our leaders and because of the impetus that our ladies have to be competitive, to get into the mining sector, to get into the oil and gas, to get in geology, and get into mechanical and petroleum, and every sector and every discipline at KFUPM that will be a future sector or an existing sector that will go to bigger heights in the future. We are very, very proud of our male students. Don't get me wrong. We are also exceptionally proud by our female students, and exceptionally proud by the Saudi population that demonstrated to the world that we can do things that others cannot do.
Yeah, as you should be. Your Excellency, Mr. President, unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.